that you may have, please feel free to, put it up at the chat box. We'll see to it that, we'll answer all of that. And we'll try and see that, maybe in between the sessions, we'll take up some of the questions, or once the session is over, we'll try and take it all towards the end of the session. So I think without wasting much time, I'll give it over to Swapnil. Hey, Swapnil. You're on mute, Swapnil.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for introducing and setting up the context. Hi, everyone. Today, basically, I'm here to talk about very fundamental to every business, right? Especially for publishers to understand your customers, right? Or the users' interactions and making smarter decisions. And we know the world of digital marketing is constantly changing. And so we largely measure it, right? So today we will be discussing how we are transforming Google Analytics as a product to keep up with the evolving ecosystem, and how this helps publishers to get most out of it for their business objectives largely. But before we dive into the details, let me quickly introduce myself. I lead GA360 business in India, and I have Amber, who is part of my team in the call itself. Okay. So I know that a lot of you who are part of this call already were using Universal Analytics earlier, and you are kind of well versed with the product, and you kind of seeing it more easier product to understand the metric and get it out of for the business perspective and get the all understanding clear, right? You can thumbs up, thumbs down if you feel that Universal Analytics was way easier as compared to the new product altogether. But to truly understand where we are going, right, it's also important to look at our innovation journey. Thanks, Shubham, for nodding. But I know many of you are familiar with the Universal Analytics, but I'll must tell you that Universal Analytics was built on a foundation that was 10 years old, right? And that aging infrastructure was ultimately not able to support or give you understanding of your high data volumes, and also the advanced modeling capabilities which are demanded by the changing measurement landscape. And that's why we had to make this shift. We need to because right, there are a lot of policy changes happened. There are a lot of regulations related to first-party data collection and interpretation of data insights have changed now. DPDP is like coming soon in India also, but in the multiple regions, there's GDPR, there's CCPA, then there's DMA Act, which is just market acts, which actually impacted a lot of things how we measure in the past. And that's why we made a move towards making a new platform altogether, which was GA4 in that sense. And that is why we made a promise to all our customers, be it advertisers and publishers, that we will build a new platform that allows you to see largely a unified user journey, not just about web, not just about app, but also having a consolidated, unified, deduplicated information of your web and app. We also promise that we'll have Google's Gemini models to predict and surface new insights for you, which will give you a better customer understanding and more informed decision-making capabilities while keeping up with the evolving ecosystem. However, our goals for Google Analytics are not even more ambitious the way that we promised earlier. We know many of our customers already use Google Analytics on their website and apps. Our vision is not just collecting the data and giving the insight, but also making it more centralized hub, which can help you plan better and manage your audience activation efforts while using cutting edge AI, which is Google's Gemini in that sense, right? To achieve this, we are making a lot of bold investments in the platform. Let's move on to the next slide, where I'll talk about the key pillars, which are actually where we are putting a lot of investments today to make this product more comprehensive in that sense. So if you look at the first pillar, it basically talks about how we can not just look at the lower funnel data collection, but how we can get more upper funnel data collection also into the platform, so that we can make it more comprehensive business management rather than making it Google web analytics or app analytics platform, right? So it will not just have the conversion level data or your interaction level data, but also imagine from the upper funnel perspective, what are the channels which are driving more traffic to you, and how you can see the upper funnel, maybe integrating your Google console with the Search Console, with the Google Analytics to make it more comprehensive that way. We are also investing a lot of time on, reporting excellence and measurement consistency. I know that you maybe integrating your GAM with the Google Analytics, or you're integrating your Google Ads per se for some marketing activities. You might be seeing some different numbers in different platforms because of their own way of collecting data and interacting with the attribution in that perspective. But we are internally making sure that we have a reporting excellence and consistency across the platforms. The third, which is the most taught section, is largely about Google's AI, where we are leveraging a lot of, we have actually embedded a lot of new features in the Google Analytics platform to make sure that you use a lot of natural language to get more insights out of it. And we also making a lot of investments towards audience activation, means making Google Analytics as a platform which will not just collect the data, not give you the insight, but also help you activate your audience for better monetization perspective. And of course, together, these pillars ensure that Google Analytics is a durable and powerful measurement built for the future, right? I have already talked about the upper funnel, how we are making it more full funnel measurement, making it more comprehensive business measurement. And also, we are making sure that with the future capabilities, you see more consistency across the Google's ecosystem platforms, like Google Analytics and GAM, or Google Analytics versus Google Ads, right? So we are making sure that first pillar will have not just the lower funnel or middle funnel information, but also the upper funnel data together. As I said, consistency towards the platform is more important for us. And if you look at this slide, is basically talking about what are the new features that we have rolled out into the Google Analytics. The first and the foremost is the GA chat. Imagine you have your own data analyst who is giving you the insights and graphs according to your questions in the natural forms, right? So you're just basically asking what are the top pages that are performing best for the monetization perspective. GA chat can give you the reports immediately right after asking this question. Along with that, there's a great feature that we have recently launched. Is called Generated Insights. Means it will analyze your data, historical data, and start giving you more actionable and recommended data insights. Means let's suppose you are seeing some anomaly in a particular day, then Generated Insights will help you identify the trend, and it will give you explanation and recommendations. Maybe this is because you are running a campaign, or you are currently integrating with a particular affiliate which is driving more traffic to you, is actually giving you more anomalies. And similarly, we are also making sure that each industry would know what are the things that needs to be implemented into the GA platform. And hence we are providing a GA task assistant. This is kind of checklist for you on the basis of your industry. For example, if you are talking about publisher will have a recommended checklist from the GA perspective, which needs to be implemented in the platform to make sure you have the best out of this platform. Along with that, of course, I think if you have used Universal Analytics, you know there was part of benchmarking. Now we have more comprehensive understanding of the benchmarking part in the GA4 also. We are using machine learning and AI because GA is a widely utilized platform. And we have a lot of aggregated information of the industries, which can help you compare your data as, for example, you are trying to understand how many impressions from a particular category coming up in the platform, and what is the current trend for the competitive stack perspective. Along with that, as I said, we know that the protecting your first party data is more important than ever to help strengthen that digital privacy while still supporting business growth. Google is making a lot of major investment in confidential computing, which is called trusted execution environment, if you have heard about it. This means that your data is processed in a secured environment, and this adds transparency and technical assurances for how your data is processed, right? Ensuring that Google Analytics is private by design. So in a nutshell, if I talk about how Google Analytics is actually solving for publishers largely, these are the three larger pillars. One is data collection, to make sure that you have all your data sources, data collected into the platform, be it your web app, If you have any CRM data which you feel you get offline from the, let's suppose your affiliates in that sense, you can always collect all data to get into the platform. And then you can do a lot of insighting within the platform by using a lot of features, which is called, for example, explore funnel visualization, segment overlap, and multiple reports are available in the template version. And let's suppose you feel that you want to create a recommended engine, content recommendation engine, or you want to create a statistical understanding of users who may be having higher cohort and have highly likely converting for your subscriptions, for example, you can always export that data from GA to BigQuery. And this is not just about the enterprise version, even in the free version, you can export your data to BigQuery. And along with that, of course, when you use those audience activations, you can always integrate with Ad Manager, and you can pass your audiences to the platform to make it more comprehensive targeting in that sense. This concludes my first section. I'll quickly talk about what are the pillars I already talked about and what are the exact features that you can see in the platform and what are the capabilities around these. So if you look at the first slide, this is, I think, the most talked and asked feature, which already rolled out in the platform. This is called Google Analytics Chat. So it is kind of very simple natural language question that you can ask, and you can get not just understanding from the GNI's perspective, but you can also see graphs in the chat itself. So you can see reports in that sense, right? So you don't need to have your data consultant or maybe your data analyst always with you. You can always ask the question, and you can always leverage the help center articles and the data which is available in the platform to create a simple view for you. And you can also ask for the reasons why Gemini should think that this is an anomaly for me. Is there any trend going on? Is there any implementation issue that they have seen? So these kind of things you can see in the platform itself, right? I also talked about the generated insights. It's pretty simple. Means if we have a specific spike or anomaly in the report, it can start giving you recommendations and insights as a bar within the GA platform itself, the way we are providing it to Google Ad Manager or to Google Ads in that sense. Right? So you can see a lot of insights coming up for you. Along with that, as I said, Task Assistance is a path to check all your recommended implementation that needs to be there for publishers specifically. It is like comprehensive onboarding, you can imagine, right? It's a personalized guidance for you. And you can implement everything, whatever mentioned in the task list, and it will eventually give you the best data that you can imagine from the GA perspective. Along with that, benchmarking, which was also available in the previous version. So it is not very new for anything, but yeah, GA4 never had benchmarking in the past, but now we got a lot of feedback from the industry, and I think this is important in that sense, right? This slide is super interesting, right? I know that a lot of customers might be seeing different data in different platforms. When you're using your GAM, and if you have integrated GA with that, I'm assuming the reports that you're seeing in the GA platform, not seeing the exact numbers in that sense, right? And that is because of a lot of external factors that actually contribute to this discrepancy, not just a platform independency. So for example, you're using UTM parameters on any page, for example, and you see that your direct or /none is getting a lot of attribution. You're not able to identify, okay, this is my, this particular campaign helped me get more traffic, but actually your source medium is not getting attributed in that sense. So for that matter, I think GA has launched, or Google Analytics has launched, which is called the middle layer, the aggregated identifiers. One is, of course, the ad identification of the users, which is sitting within the Google ecosystem. And then there's a manual tagging. But what happens generally is when you have GSL IDs, DSL IDs, or ad FI IDs, it is not, sometimes it is conflicting with the attribution models, look back windows, or any other in that sense. So that's why we introduced aggregated identifiers. That is actually a middle ground between GSL IDs and the manual taggings or UTM parameters. So which is actually helping you get more consistent information, whether it is UTM parameters that you're leveraging or the ad IDs, FIDs, PPIDs, whatever that you have as a user ID in place. You can always stitch together to see minimum leakage of your attribution to multiple different channels. I hope that helps you understand how we are developing a lot of features in that sense. Yes, Shweta, I think you have this.
Yeah, we have actually two questions coming for the previous
Okay.
two slides. Yeah, so maybe we'll just take those. So
Sure.
one is from Prabhasakshi. She wanted to check if is GA chat available to non-360 users also.
Yeah, interesting question. Yes, it is available. GA chat is for all. It's not. So I'll basically talk about the GA360 versus GA in the later slides, but GA360 has nothing additional as a feature capability. Everything is available in the standard version also. It's just that there's some limit enhancements that is something you can see in the enterprise version. So there are very few features which is specific to SLAs, processing, and these are the fundamental differences between the platform, not about the features. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks.
The second question, yeah,
Yeah.
the second question from Shashank, can we create unique identifier tag for users so that we can target the users accordingly? Very a valid question, Shashank. Definitely, we always encourage our customers to have their own persistent ID across the channels so that you can always unify your users' information. So the first layer is always the user ID, which we generally say, for example, user is logging in into the platform or you're on your website or an app. The moment they log in, you can pass your own identifier to the GA. So let's suppose they're using your desktop and also the app. You need to have a persistent ID to match the session unification. And hence, we recommend always to have your user ID in place. But I know there are a lot of guest activation happen on the platform, right? And hence, Google Signals, which is a feature which available in the Google's ecosystem itself, which identifies users on the basis of their Gmail logins, Chrome logins, YouTube logins, or maybe Android logins. Okay, this is the same user sitting within the ecosystem, is actually leveraging desktop and app both. So to your question, yes, always recommend to have your user ID in place. And if let's suppose you have a guest login higher numbers, then probably you can use Google Signals intelligence. I hope that answers. Okay, moving ahead. Yeah, yes, Sumit.
Yeah, can I ask something different, bit different from it? Can you ask?
Sorry, I am not able to hear
Yeah,
you
am I
properly.
audible now?
Yes, you are.
Am I audible now? Can I ask something different from it? A bit different?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, we were observing spam traffic in our GA4 account.
Okay.
And those were and those were from porn websites. So I mean, how do we eliminate that? I mean, how do we not record that data in our GA4?
So,
And how
Sumit,
does it impact our domain health? Yeah.
sure. So I think fundamentally Google Analytics always keep updating the spam traffic or bot traffics from the platform itself. And we generally mitigate those
Mhm.
traffics getting updated into the platform. But let's suppose there's uh, some domains or platforms which are not being recognized as a spam domains yet, and hence let's suppose it is tracking a lot of traffic. So think from the analytics perspective is if it is not away understanding if it is a spam domain or traffic coming up, it will not be able to mitigate or
Mhm.
reduce that data for you because it is considering it as a platform which is driving traffic to the website.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
there are two separate things. Google Analytics is a tag which is just tracking whatever you are getting as a traffic into the platform. So Google
Right.
Analytics can definitely identify more spam traffics, but let's suppose we are not able to identify it as a spam domain as of we speak, then it would not be able to mitigate that for you for now. But what you can always do is you can create your exclusions in that sense. Let's suppose you identified some domains which you feel is currently a spam domain for you. You can always always reduce or exclude that as a referral exclusion in that sense.
So, I mean, actually, my main question, main concern is, I mean, does this impact our like website domain in terms of in Google Ads thing or Meta thing? Like, does it have any impact for our domain reputation?
I think it's not my core expertise in that sense. Maybe Shweta, if you want to chime in, but what I can definitely sense is, let's suppose you're getting a traffic from a domain which is not relevant to your industry or from the, it will definitely have some repercussions in that sense. But Shweta, maybe if you want to chime in.
Yeah. Sumit, I think any questions with regards to non-analytics related, we can take it separately. We have our office hours soon after this, so let's catch up there and during the office hours.
Actually, yeah, it was something bit related to GA4 as well, but yeah, no problem. I can ask that in that meeting.
Let's catch up during the office hours.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving ahead, I think we basically talked about a lot of things related to web and app data tracking. But let's suppose you have some CRM data that you want to also include into your platform, or you feel that a lot of users are giving their phone numbers or email ID while interacting with the brand. Let's suppose you want to have their email ID and phone number as an hashed information to the platform so that you can better target them in the later while creating your cohorts into the Google Ad Manager, right? So user provided data is like enhanced conversions, I would say. Means it will give you a better understanding of your marketing channels, which are actually driving, not marketing channels for the publisher perspective, but the channels actually, which are driving higher traffic, and how your authors, how your content categories are getting attributed to the conversions, which is subscription, for example. UPT can help you get your user's phone number and email ID to the GA platform without showing, identifying their PIIs, right? Means it is a hashed information which can get attached with the session unification, and then you can do a lot of interesting targeting to those users' perspective. Big slide. I know that GA can integrate with a lot of Google's ecosystem product like Google Ad Manager, Google Ads, DV360, Firebase, BigQuery, and so on and so forth, right? But we are making a lot of development towards making it not just Google ecosystem product. We are making it agnostic to the ecosystem product in that sense. For example, you can export your audiences to other platforms as well. For example, you want to run your subscription-based campaigns on Meta, and you are currently having all your first-party data into the GA. And I get a lot of questions largely from the advertisers in that sense, but I know there are a lot of publishers also who are doing a lot of marketing for subscription-based. You can always export your audiences, which are currently residing in the GA platform. You can always export it to your other marketing channels, and you can target. And this is possible because you are using your own user ID, you are using UPD, you are using the first party data encryption into the GA platform, which helps get a lot of information. And apart from that, you can also integrate with other CRM systems. For example, you can integrate with Salesforce directly. And there are a lot of more integrations are coming up in that sense. Along with that, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's nothing I would say is sorry, just give me a second. I think there's some slide. Yeah. So I was basically talking about it's pretty straightforward when you leverage GA data collection. You are creating audiences within the platform, and you can not just export it to Google Ads or Google Ad Manager, but you can also have your audiences or long level data exported to the BigQuery also. So means you can go beyond the Google platform in that sense. I hope this gives you better understanding how we are transforming Google Analytics, not just becoming a web analytics or app analytics, but also a cross-channel measurement tool, which helps not just publishers, also advertisers or other industry players who are currently tracking their data into the platform, right? Very quickly, I'll touch upon GA and GAM integration, I think I have taken a lot of time, but Shweta, if you allow, I have a couple of slides basically talking about integrations.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sure. Okay, so this slide basically shows how GA and Google Ad Manager integrates, and which is now available for all customers, not just for 360 customers. It provides largely four key benefits. One is, of course, once you integrate, you get a lot of dimensions specific to Ad Manager into the GA platform, which actually gives you a comprehensive understanding from users' impression level data to conversion level data. Means, let's suppose you have integrated your search console, then you have integrated your GAM. So you get impressions, impressions, ad revenue perspective data also. And because of course you have a lot of plethora of dimension metrics available in the GA platform, which can integrate with the stream, more comprehensively in that sense, so that you can monetize your ad manager from the GA4 audience sharing perspective. And crucially, it improves alignment by reducing major discrepancies between publisher reports, offering a single source of truth as and a monetization insights for you. When we are talking about the audience as in GAM integration with the GA4, you get a lot of GAM data into the GA platform. For example, you can get ad format, right? You can get ad source, ad unit, page path, right? Or maybe if I talk about some metrics, you can see ad unit exposure, publisher ad clicks, total ad revenue. These kind of metrics will get accumulated within the GA platform. And when we are talking about the uh, more unified view in one single platform, it gives you a lot of opportunities to make decisions out of it, right? Uh, and because GA have a lot of insights like Google Signals, which is not your first party data, but it can actually, uh, uh, you know, add more flavors to the first party data that you collect. For example, you have users who are landing on a particular category page, means or content category page, and they are consuming a lot of content there. On the basis of their consumption, you can top up what is their affinity, what is their in market, what is their age or demographics, right? Means what are age, gender, locations in that sense. These are the information coming from Google Signals. It is not your first party, but you can still monitor and optimize your campaigns or your ad manager or targeting a basis of Google Signals. We talked about user ID also, which can help you deduplicate your cross-device data. Very interestingly, there's a predictive audiences. If you have heard about it, very nice. If not, I'll talk about it in the later slide. Predictive metrics is basically giving you, if you have a subscription, for example, right? And you also triggering your purchase event into the J platform. You will get a lot of insights, which basically says these are the audiences or cohorts which will convert for you in next 7 days. Means when you have this granular understanding, okay, this is my cohort which will convert for me next 7 days. That means this is the audience that I need to retarget immediately. So you can leverage these kind of insights which are available in the platform. And it's, of course, when we are talking about the integration, GAM is the super seamless integration that you can see in the GA platform. And it actually makes more easier for you to understand your data reports that way. So in a nutshell, if I give you a perspective, if you're using Google Analytics for your Google Ad Manager, the audience integration is the major part, right? Not just collection, not just insights, but also how you can approach your immediate first party audiences for better ads monetization perspective. So these are the four fundamentals I would say. It will definitely increase value as a monetization for you. It will help you create new audiences and new builder for you, which is a new way to create audiences. It also supports both your web and app. I know majority of the publishers are now moving towards app, but also have significant traffic coming up from the web. And of course, when we are talking about the user ID, when we are talking about PPIDs, we are talking about the future ready platform. So it is first, privacy first, future proof platform, which can give you sustainable audience or advertising growth in that sense. I talked about predictive audiences. I very quickly touch upon it. So these are the three fundamental categories within the predictive audiences in Google Analytics. It's a machine learning platform algorithm comes from the Gemini's model, which basically helps you identify who are my users who are going to convert in next 7 days. And we're not only talking about the converters, we are also giving you churn probability. Means these are the cohorts which are not interacting with the brand anymore. Why should you want to target or uh, place a banner for them, right? Means they might not have a significant value for the business. Or let's suppose you want to have a dedicated new LOB launched and you feel that these churning users could be relevant in that sense, you can create a dedicated messaging for those in that sense, right? And then the third one is revenue prediction. Means uh, there's a dedicated audience which is called predicted 20-day top spenders. Means this is my cohort is high value users for me. So you can always create a monetization campaigns towards ad manager using these cohorts. Uh, I talked about PPID in a couple of slides. And I am assuming that everybody knows about the PPIDs already. PPID is nothing, just a persistent key ID that can translate your multiple platforms data into a single one. It could be your own user ID, but PPIDs can help you create a lot of audiences which would be more relevant from multiple devices sessions, right? You know that there are a couple of cohorts of the users who are not just using desktop, they are also using mobile and web, for example. So you can always deduplicate and unify this data in the platform itself, and then you can pass this data to Google Analytics, and then you can configure your audience builders, creating a lot of conditions. And with that conditions, you can always create a lot of specific campaigns to your specific targeted audiences, right? So I think in a simple word, GA4 integration with GAMP is easier to understand your data in that sense. It is privacy safe, and it will eventually help you create a lot of cohorts from the GA, which can actually have more choices for your buys. Right? I would very quickly talk about one case study, which is Produce Press. It's a uh, advertising agency used Google Ad Manager with GA4. What they have done is they ran an A/B testing targeting the interstitial format to specific audiences, which they identified in GA4. And the experiment was success, restoring their confidence by demonstrating an increase in CTR. They have seen higher daily revenue in that sense, and they have made a more strategic, implemented strategy specific to interstitial ad. Uh, Very quickly, I'll touch upon GA360. I think somebody talked about GA360 in the past also. Um, so when you have so okay, I know all publishers would have the biggest data volume that I could imagine. We have a couple of GA360 clients specific to publishers who are currently having more than maybe 30, 40 billion events in a month. I'm just giving you nutshell as an average data. There are a couple of clients who are more than that. And it becomes very complicated when you have this much of data, right? To manage that, to understand. And I know that GA standard, and I'm assuming that most of you are currently seeing that sampling in the platform, right? Means when you are using creating reports, you are seeing that there's a exclamatory mark that says you are currently getting sample data of about 5%, and hence you're not able to see the complete picture of your data insights. And that's where Google Analytics Enterprise version comes into the play. It gives you a right level of governance. It gives you highly customizable to the needs of your team. And also, of course, when we are talking about the enterprise version of any side of things, you expect enterprise level performance and supportability, right? So GA enterprise comes with the same understanding where you can see a unified and you can have a right level of governance. Means you will have always recommended best practices of your unified view. Let's suppose you don't want to expose your brand X to your brand Y within the same group, then you need a right set of governance, right? Second, you have, okay, let's go for the first section first. When we are talking about the data governance, rule up property is something, a new feature altogether into the enterprise version. Uh, it is not available in the standard. I think these are one of the features which is only creating a differentiator in that sense. So let's suppose you have a group level analytics, but you don't want to expose your brand one versus brand two data to each of the teams. So you can create a main property which can have all the data together from multiple brands. And then you can create multiple sub property. Imagine this is just a simple view that you used to create in the universal analytics, right? So it is kind of view, which is called sub properties. You will just filter out maybe a region or maybe a brand, and then you can see your own data rather than getting exposed to the different brands or domains data. The second pillar is largely customizability that you can see in the platform. So let's suppose you want to only look at your SEO reports, for example. You want to see, and you don't want to expose your marketing cost to the SEO team, for example, or whatever organic traffic that you are currently seeing, you don't want a paid team to look at it. You can create a segregated, dedicated report in the GA360 platform. It is not available in the standard version. The third is, of course, when we talk about enterprise version, we talk about SLAs. SLAs basically, we guarantee when you opt for GA360, we give you guaranteed SLAs, service level agreement, that you will see, for example, collection and reporting says that you will get 99.9% uptime per quarter, right, for data collection, for reporting. And there's a good part I want to touch upon is BigQuery daily export. It was in the previous version, also in the Universal Analytics, we never had SLA for BigQuery. Now, it's not launched yet, but we are expecting to see it in Q4 2025, for example. BigQuery will have also a SLA. That means you'll see guaranteed uptime data available in the BigQuery if you're creating statistical models. So I'll skip this slide. It's very too much information in this, but I'll give you a quick examples. For example, we are talking about the sampling data, right? In the standard version, definitely you will see a lot of sampling happening if you're going beyond 10 million events per query. But if you have a GA360, you can see unsampled data up to 1 billion events per query. But if you want to go beyond that, there are some tokens which can help you get more than that data, right? 20,000 tokens per day per property. So this is huge. None of the customers currently are able to consume all in one day. But I think this is super interesting when you have your unsampled data into the platform. The second is data retention. In the standard version, you can get only 14 months of data in that sense. But if you have GA360, you can go up to 50 months. I'm basically talking about BigQuery multiple times, but I think this is again important to see. When you have standard, you can still export your data to BigQuery, but there's a limit of 1 million events per day. But I assume that most of the publishers will always see beyond 1 billion in a day, right? So you can go for enterprise version. You can see up to 20 billion events per day. Means there's no limitation in that sense exporting data into BigQuery. And the best part when you're exporting your data to BigQuery is that you can see fresh daily as a feature which is coming up into the paid version only. Fresh daily means you can see your data into the BigQuery on a dedicated time or a frequency on a day. Currently, if you look at the daily export, you are seeing your data around 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. But if you have fresh daily, you can see more faster. So when you have your GA360, I'll quickly talk about this. In a nutshell, you'll see higher performance, higher limits, data governance in place, and of course, the enterprise level support. I hope it gives you a good glimpse of how you can differentiate between GA standard versus GA360. But before wrapping it up, I'll quickly talk about a couple of case studies that I have put in here. How are current existing customers who currently have GA in place, how they are currently solving their business problems. So if you look at business standard, have utilized GA and BigQuery together to optimize their current efficacies in campaign targeting. They have also seen a higher accuracy in the data tracking when they have exported their data to BigQuery to make sure that they have a lot of log level data to do a lot of statistical modeling. Along with that, I have one maybe not very specific to publishers. Yeah, Meghna, we can definitely share these case studies with you. The second case study that I'm showing it, not specific to publishers, but if you want to see the horizon, how we are currently using a GA in that sense. So Zomato app heavy, you know already, right? Now, they have ran their app campaigns using Google Analytics audience triggers while using predictive audience. So predictive audience is like machine learning algorithm that they have leveraged for understanding how they can achieve more higher average order value. And they have also seen 20% boost in app action per session. And the third case study is largely about an app who is kind of gaming app and having a publisher kind of industry. Uh, they leveraged GA audience analytics audience triggers, and they seen higher average revenue per paying user, right? Because they identified the cohort which are largely having intent to convert for them. So they use audience builders to their purchase campaign with conversion event forbidding. So it helped them achieve more increase, 7% increase in day 7 retention rate. And they also seen increase 20% increase in average revenue per paying user. I hope I was able to give you a good context how we are moving from core foundation of analytics to making it more cross-channel, and how you can leverage when you integrate a GA with GAM to get better audience activation perspective. If you have any question, happy to answer. However, I'm just handing it over to Shiva.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Swapnil, for sharing all of the insights on GA4. Any more questions that you may have?
Thanks, Manish.
Any questions for Swapnil? If not, yeah, is there someone? Yeah, I think we have a question from Panorama team. Get recording. Yeah, we would.
Awesome.
I think just to give a gist of our upcoming session, so next week we'll have another session which will be led by meteorology team, and we're going to talk about custom events, metrics, and dimensions. So we're going to go deep into the different features of GA4 and how do we use it. There'll be a lot of live demos that meteorology team will be doing. So that's next week, and we will surely send in the invites for all of that. In another 45 minutes at 12:30, we have our office hours. So any questions specific, like each of y'all, any questions that you may have with regards to your websites and GA4 and NCI, feel free to join if you may have any doubts and questions. And I think before you all leave, I would, as always, for all the workshops, please fill in the feedback survey form. Give us feedback on how the session was and what is it that you would like to learn more, so that we get an idea of what else should we kind of prepare for you for the next workshop. Any other questions for Swapnil, guys? We are almost on time. So yeah, if no more questions, we can say bye for the day and catch up at 12:30 for all of those who have questions during office hours. Thank you so much, Swapnil, for coming in and joining in us today.
Thank you so much for joining in, team. I hope it was helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Swapnil. Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
क्या हो रहा है?